Greetings, family. This is Dia Nunez with the H2O Network. I hope that everyone is doing well. I'm really excited about our next guest, Spirit Halima. She's been in my network for a very long time, but everyone is expanding, and she's talking about relationships, as you can see, sensual charm, live juicy. We're going to be talking about female magnetism, men and relationships, of course. There are a lot of things percolating on the burner on many different levels, so why not bring the experts on? Greetings and welcome to the HO Network, Spirit Halima.
Oh, greetings. Glad to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Absolutely. Well, when I saw, Sister getting down and talking about the essence of relationship and the essence of female magnetism and many different things, it is very pertinent to this time that we're in right now. I mean, for the love of God, we just had a ton of women who were protesting. I mean, things that have never been seen before. The divine feminine is rising up. So
Yes.
it is very important that we talk about these things because there are tons of wounds that the divine feminine and I also believe the divine masculine has been carrying for a very long time. So I was really eager to have a conversation with you and to talk about your opinions and how you perceive things.
Yeah, I'm ready.
So,
Yeah.
talking about female magnetism, I mean, explain, because you have some very deep perspectives on things.
Yes. Well, thank you again because I like really going into depth about what I'm talking about, so we can make it plain and simple. But female magnetism, the reason why I call it female versus woman magnetism is that from how I teach, is that the female is the essence. She is the unprogrammed organic being that we all have. And the woman is what has been born out of time and space, through pain, through evolution. And so we appreciate the woman, and the woman is insecure. The woman is afraid. The woman has doubt. The woman doesn't value herself. The woman doesn't feel worthy through the programming that she received through religion or entertainment or so many different ways, abandonment, from the personal to the moral societal constructs. So the female is its pure essence. Magnetism is our ability to really bring to us what we desire. We're already magnetic beings, just that most of us are just magnetizing by default. We magnetizing based on the woman and her insecurities. So it's really aligning the pure essence of who we are with the law of magnetism so we can bring to really embody the feminine and lean back and allow our solutions, our desires to move towards us.
There's a pause. I'm waiting for you to say more because I know you have more.
Okay. Yes,
I know you have more to say, and I'm saying that because, I take a very shamanistic view on things because I am a shaman. I'm a Lukumi shaman of Yemaya, who's the mother of the world. And before one can really recognize the essence of one's female magnetism, there is many wounds that have cut us deep. And it's not just one group, it's many groups. It's the divine in general. So what are some of the things that you, as you're doing your work, because I know that you're accelerating and expanding in nature, but
yes.
where do you begin? Because, as my grandmother used to always say, it's nice to go shopping to have new clothes, but you can't put clothes on when you have stank on you because it just doesn't work. So, there are many things that one has to cleanse away to transmute, transform in an alchemical principle, if you will, before one can really step into the true essence of who they are. So what is your perspective on that? Because we can't recognize what we have if we've been taught to use our magnetism as a form of weaponry, which it has very much so been, percolated in my mind. What is your perception on that?
Yeah, I agree with you. Definitely, it's been women power has been diminished to just sexual gratification. Stilettos and red lipstick, right? We use sex and women's, and I can't even call it femininity. It's a remnant of femininity. True feminine power has many different forms. It's really about her manifesting than it is about how she looks, right? So, but in the West, it's such a huge distraction is appearances. That's how they keep us on this perpetual consumer-based way of existing. The new cosmetic, we go get it. The new cosmetic surgery, we go get it. The new hair color, we get it. Whatever it is, we're constantly moving around like ping pongs to different industries, and they're feeding off of our insecurity. But yeah, so going back to what you're saying about that stank, here's the thing about that stank. In your life, it's there with you. It's like, what I'm saying? When you haven't bathed in a while, you smell it, right?
Indeed. Or you try to sweep it under the rug because you know what? This is when I knew that you were coming on this show, and I was like, you know what, Dia, make sure you don't overwhelm Spirit Halima, because these wounds and this power that we have is powerful, but yet through the essence of generational programming and ambassadorship for the hegemony, we've collected a lot of things that are incorrect in nature. Therefore, it is filtered over in the topic of relationship. It is filtered over into the essence of our relationship with man and how we connect spiritually. It's very cardinal. It's very from the house of, excuse me everybody, Libra. It's a very superficial energy. It's Venus, yes. That is the house that pulls people to us, that magnetism. However, when we begin to get into a relationship and we start to see the doctrine of a person's character and their soul unfold, it gets real deep and tricky.
Well, I'm not sure. Yeah, the soul unfolding, I think, would be very beautiful. I think what it is that our programmings battle one another. It's the conditionings that usually are in conflict with one another. When two people can naturally see each other's soul, I don't see the conflict in that. So it's like the programming is my programming of abandonment, warring against your programming of needing to be heard.
Well, there is no problem with that. However, when you project things that you've emotionally encapsulated within your soul and you project it in the world in the way that you function in relationship, that is a problem.
Well, again, it goes back to the programming,
right?
Because what is pure in you is what's the conflict? It's not. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you two people who are soul filled and they can see one another, what's the conflict? The conflict comes through, again, their projection, and the projection is the programming, it's the conditioning, it's all the things we've been, the mental tapes, the letdowns, the hurts, the betrayal, all that is what is projecting.
Oh, without a doubt. But can we function? That's another question I want to ask you. There is nothing wrong with soul, but if you're projecting that, are you able to actually see, quote unquote, the true essence of the divine in soul? Aha.
Not in that moment.
Yep.
Yeah, not in that moment. So it's like we have to get through to, again, going within. And I know that's like seem like a cliche response, but there's ways that I teach women and how I actually had to have this whole immersion and deep inquiry within my own self, because that's what it takes. It takes introspection. It takes inquiry. Is really begin to observe why you do what you do and begin to retrieve your power. So when you project, is a way of distracting, and it's a way of hiding. Maybe it's a way of maybe you're attempting to feel power, but that's not a powerful act. So we relinquish power in a lot of different ways, by blaming, by shaming someone, and we feel we get power from that, but we actually are hemorrhaging energetically.
Indeed.
So it's about really seeing yourself as an energy system, a vibrational system, that and kind of like I call it zooming out a little bit to see who you are organically, and then begin to own who you are and begin to see, okay, Why am I giving up my power? Who am I giving my power up to? And those two questions are huge when we begin to look at your life day by day and the choices that we make.
How did you come to the point, Spirit Halima? Because that just doesn't happen organically, unfortunately. But what occurred in your life that was the breaking point to make you not run away from it, but to actually confront it? Was there a particular event that happened in your life?
Oh yeah, girl. This is like something okay, yes. Okay. And that's what I teach my clients and women is that this has come from experience. It's not something I read. This is not something someone told me. It's something that was born out of pain and my commitment to see myself. So I was married for many years. Was together with someone for many years, I should say. And during that whole process, I lost my voice. I lost my radiance. I lost um, who I was. And, I didn't know at the time that's what I was doing. But as I look back, I can see all the different steps, you know what I'm saying? All the different choices.
Isn't it deep when you're in a because you know what I'm thinking in my head, we mirrored each other because the same thing happened to me. And I'm thinking to myself, isn't it profound how like when you're outside of the situation, you see everything that you didn't see before? Isn't that crazy?
It's like, damn. The thing is, like, we see it differently because, first we're seeing it through the eyes of love, and now we're looking from more sobering eyes, but mostly as relates to what we gave up for ourselves. For me, after you get past the whole blaming, I blame my ex-child. I mean, I write a book, sonnet about how much I blamed him. But really, it came down to me. It came down to me looking at the choices I made for me and my son, right? Because we were blending a family, and I lost respect for myself. You know how you just lose respect for your man, but most importantly, you lose respect for yourself.
Yes.
And I think it was that angst that I had lost something very unique to who I was. I lost some fire. And it was so funny because one of my male friends I liked in college, we kind of saw each other driving one day. We pulled over. He said, something changed in you. He was like, you're not feeling well. You're running this man's kids around. You're not the same person I knew 5 years ago. And that really pained me, but I didn't get it at the time. So when I really made the decision to leave the relationship, it was like everything in the house was like the the kitchen sink was clogged up, the bathrooms was going crazy. It was like the washing machine was broke. It was like water was coming down from the roof. It was like that was me. I felt I was losing energy, and so I decided to leave. And that was a big decision. This is somebody I thought would be with for the rest of my life, right?
Yeah.
Even though I had already compromised some things that I did. And so first, one of my mentors, Iana Van Zant, said, first the pebble, then the brick, right? So if you can imagine anything getting worse than that, like the relationship, then here comes the brick. Because the thing is, we are not aware of our freaking blind spots. You know what I'm saying? We are lying to ourselves, trying to play nice, trying to keep it safe, keep these little pretty lives that we've created and we're hiding in safe so no one can really see who we are. But if you are blessed in this lifetime, you have someone come to you who see you exactly who you are and would trigger everything in you for you to move your ass. Excuse my English. So that's what happened to me. The universe sent a really arrogant mofo. He was disguised as an arrogant mofo. But he was a guru. He came to teach me.
Jay, speak, girl, speak. That ain't nothing but the truth now that I look back. Yes.
Guru, right? He triggered everything. So, you're just playing nice. I'm nice. I'm a good person. But let me tell you something. If you're in that box, break out of it because you are accepting and tolerating a lot more than you probably need to, right? He forced me to see myself as who I was being. So the pebble was my ex-husband. The brick was the new lover. Because he wouldn't care about my feelings, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause I had gained weight. My digestive problems was all jacked up, you know. I was out in the world. I've been with a man for like 14 years now. I'm back out here single, fat, insecure, not really owning my own power. You know what I'm saying? And
Wow.
it's like you lose yourself. And it was in that relationship that I delved into sacred sexuality. It was in that relationship where he wasn't really physically attracted to me. He didn't mind letting me know. And I had to really say, you know what, I can run from this or I can grow from this. And I don't recommend that for every situation, especially if there's some form of abuse. But I knew he was only reflecting issues in my mind, and I had to be the one to take care of it. You know, I had to be the one to heal it within so I could see a different out picturing.
Well, I'm listening to you and I'm biting my tongue because our mirroring each other is like so profound. And it's like women, we are
Wow.
nurturers, we are the lovers of creation. And, sometimes, love is a very powerful drug that we don't realize. And I didn't realize that until I divorced the narcissist that was in my life. That when we're in that fog, we don't see a lot of things. We're not thinking rationally, and this is scientifically proven. And, my family would tell me things that they perceived, and that people that didn't even know me, that would see me all the time, would tell me their perceptions of the energy that when they saw us together. And it was just a mind blower to me, and it made me ponder on many things. And it made me realize that when you are a teacher in any capacity, and I think all women are teachers, and when the divine masculine has, even though it's in the negative, they are the guru, but what their job is to awaken the guru within you. And the only way you will value the seeds of guruism within yourself is if they literally have their foot on your neck, keeping you down and changing and morphing your
Yes.
identity. So you are able to encapsulate the greatness in which you are really supposed to be. Let me tell you something. The thing that happened to me in that my marriage was the best thing that ever happened to me, and I wouldn't take it back because I'm doing more creating and more loving in so many different ways and stepping into my power. It was not easy, but by any stretch of the imagination. But it just made me look at life at a different perspective, and it just I thank God that I was strong enough to recognize the metaphysics and the spiritual connection of it and the meaning of it. And, I'm still working emotionally through things because the human self, we are human beings as we walk through this mundane reality. It's just very deep, Spirit Halima. It's just deep.
Oh my gosh, you said it, and I'm feeling it, I'm feeling it. And that is the work. It really is the work, is to see yourself. And however the curriculum the universe offers you is what we have to take. So you asked the question earlier, how do you get there? You take where you are. Because the universe is serving you a curriculum. I guarantee you there's something in your life that's putting pressure on you or is asking you to grow. And you start there and then you zoom out. You begin to see how it applies to everything else that you touch and then you experience. But you bloom where you planted, and you start from looking at yourself and be thankful for the people and experiences that show you your blind spots. Because we have a tendency to get in la la land.
Well, since you said that, since you opened up Pandora's box, I always look at the duality and all of the gray areas in between. And, being a Lukumi priestess and being spiritual counselor to many people and to women, um, I observed many things. And, sometimes certain things are hard for me to swallow. There, well, let me just state it plain. What do you think is going to happen, and what parlays with women who do not get the divine wake up call? It's like, from my experience, and I would imagine from your experience, that the trauma that one goes through is like a divine wake up call. It's like, you recognize it. I mean, there's like this tug and pull, and because we're doing spiritual things. However, let's just keep it real. What about the women who do not, and they keep repeating the same cycle? I'm curious about that. Your opinions about that?
And they'll continue. They'll continue to play out. It's like, you're in a maze or you're in a hamster wheel, and you just keep going through that maze, trying to get out, trying to jump off the hamster wheel. It will just continue to spiral. And I think the more you want to hold on to what's familiar, which is the maze, which is the hamster wheel, the more intense the pressure would be to force you to get off, right? So again, first the pebble, then the brick. Now we have the brick, so I don't know when Yana would say what comes after the brick.
And I love Iyanla, because I actually know her. She's a Yoruba priestess of Obatala. And let me tell you something, the wisdom that comes out of her mouth, you just, sometimes you gotta holler or put it on mute, because you're like, did she really say that?
Oh my, she's amazing.
She's an amazing human being, and it's just like, my God, when I say spirit speaks through her, it's just like amazing. But
it is.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't even want to know what comes after the brick, because if I'm hearing you correctly, and this is my perception as well, because I really analyze certain patterns in my life, and it seems like each pattern that I repeated, Spirit is like, okay, we're going to allow you to make these mistakes, but every time you make this mistake, it's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse, until it just, you just can't do it anymore. I mean, but then again, like I said, we're on this spiritual path, but it gets real deep. I mean,
well, that's what they say about addiction. Like, you give an addict, allow the addict to take as much as they want until they say enough, right? So when they say enough, when they're done with it, that's when they've owned the experience. So when women will take as much as they can, they whatever it is, so whatever we're playing, how we're playing out in our minds, what we're telling ourselves about what we're doing. When we have enough, you'll jump off. You'll take the leap. You'll say bye. You'll walk out. You know what I'm saying? You'll do what you have to do to save yourself. And every woman is different. You know what I'm saying? Every woman has her own trajectory, but collectively speaking, there is a momentum. And that's what I say too. I tell the women I work with is that, your healing is just not for you. Every time you make a choice that empowers you, you empower all women everywhere. And not only all women everywhere, but you also empower the seeds of women everywhere.
Okay.
Because it's like, we can't just be empowered, and our children have to be empowered, other sisters, our sister friends, our men. It's really holistic. So when we heal, we leave breadcrumbs. We leave breadcrumbs to how we did it. We light the path. So it may not be this week, this year, this decade, but there's some seeds being planted in women, young girls, and women's mind that may not sprout until 2020 or 2025 or 2050. But they have their own journey, and that has to be honored also.
And speaking about men, what about men? I mean, because one cannot exist without the other, and let me tell you something. I've been through some things, and sis, I know you've been through some things, but that will never ever stop me from loving the essence of the divine masculine, because let me tell you something, I am them and they are me, point blank period, whether you like it or not. So speak on the men, because they need to hear about themselves as well. We're one, baby. She's like, oh, let me take a deep breath.
Ooh, girl, I'm a fan of myself. You lit it up, the girl. You lit it up. But that's fire. And, it's like, well, okay, so there's a feminine movement. This is, goddess movement that feels like it needs to kind of check men, disrespect the masculine in order to feel powerful. And I know they haven't gone deep enough in their appreciation of the feminine, because when you go deep into your appreciation of the feminine, the love of the masculine becomes stronger.
Yes, it does.
Because you feel yourself. And I think what's so interesting about this whole dynamic is that the masculine, the men many of them do not know how powerful and needed they are. It's like the gifts that they bring. We all been conditioned in many ways, but the men have also been conditioned to really short circuit, like their heart connection to their genitals. There's like some short circuiting there. So they've been used and utilized, and so have we. And so I have so much love and compassion for the masculine. I was just saying the other day about we're the upgrades of our parents. So the father, in his role as the masculine, the masculine energy, he downloads information to his children, particularly the daughter in this case, about what it make her feel comfortable and confident and feel unstoppable, radiant, and feel like she can take on life, right? Well, if he's not there, if he doesn't have the wherewithal within himself, he's not mentally, emotionally equipped to do that, whether he's physically present or not, then that young girl becomes insecure, unsure of herself, looking for validation, and that's a different trajectory, right? But that's how powerful the masculine presence is that he can influence generations by how he treats the smaller version of himself. Right?
That's deep, absolutely.
It's like, what tools, what toolkit, if you had a little daughter, if she was 7, and you would say, okay, honey, I have to leave, but I'm going to give you something so you can make it through this world. What would you give her? And some men don't see themselves as equipped, capable to say, I know I have to give my miniature self something. I love myself enough that I have to protect what I have created. And I think that is the fact that is not standard, especially amongst black men in America, that they don't see themselves and the need to give that toolkit to their children to pass on wisdom so they can make it. It is a really saddening thing for me. However, the beautiful thing is that there is a divine masculine energy that we always can plug right into. We can plug right in and get grounded and anchor in divinity. And so go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and you're on point with that, because during my healing process, I have to admit that I really had to remove myself from the divine masculine and the physical, because I had a lot of anger directed towards the situation as I was healing. You can't bury that under the rug. You have to allow it to come onto the surface. And the men in my reality of my life, and I think this is important, that when women go through trauma from other men, that and this is not something that one has to do, but it's nurturing for us, for one to be understood and to be heard. And I felt like the men in my environment on many different levels were not allowing me to be heard. I wasn't being nurtured, and my spirit at that time really needed that, and even now. So check this out. You talk about the divine masculine. Girl, I had a dream, and I've had this dream for the past like 6 months. The divine masculine has come to me in many different faces and shapes, and the only thing that they say in the dream is "I love you." And then I
Mm.
say "I love you," and I wake up, and I knew exactly what that was, because the people that I thought that I could confide in and give, you know what I'm saying, like I would have conversation, they'd be like, "Oh, just get over it," you know what I'm saying. They would
Mm.
sweep it under the rug. And to me, when a woman has gone through trauma, it's about our water essence. We need to be nurtured through the essence of water. And that's not always easy for men, even for men that think that they flow like water. Um,
Mm.
so because that wasn't getting fulfilled in my reality, I had a major trauma on many different levels. The divine masculine was coming to me in the dream time and like rubbing my back because I needed that. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. It's just very, very deep in nature. But you're absolutely on point when you talk about, the divine, and that takes nothing away from the men, the men in my life. It's just that they were not giving me the things that I needed. I needed nurturing from all levels to be understood
Yes.
because I was holding in a lot of energy. And people were sweeping it under the rug, and it's just like, man, I don't know. It's just real deep.
Yeah, it takes, intimacy is really, I had the same issue. I was telling, my ex about things I had gone through. It was like, okay, maybe you want to see a therapist. It's like, to really sit with someone and open up and kind of really deepen that level of intimacy, it can make a lot of people uncomfortable and holding the space for something like that. It takes a very special person.
And that's why I love Len and Honor. Remember when you were doing your show and I said, there's certain men in my network that I really gravitate to because they acknowledge the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and they call people out on their shit, and they keep it real. Lennon Honor, Ralph Smart, Siddiqui
Yes.
Bakari. I love them. They feed my soul because they have a deeper understanding of the metaphysics and the flow of things. And man,
Mm.
I just love it.
I'm saying it. I love them too. I mean, I know personally. I know Lennon and Siddiqui personally. Um, and Ralph, we've been communicating online for several years, and I like the way he shows up. And he agreed to do an interview with me to talk about this thing about Mel. The different layers to it. Um, but that's what It's like it's refreshing.
It is.
It's just refreshing. And I was telling people today on my live stream, was like, we see we have settled for just like, okay, he doesn't want to be open with me and be intimate with me. Okay, well, I'll withhold, right? And then we begin to withhold everything. Like, okay, I don't feel safe because you don't feel safe in the environment. If someone hasn't made a space where you can communicate and be heard and be nurtured, even if they don't have a solution, but they're listening to you, and you guys can fully express the situation and bring you into completion of that expression, then you really don't feel safe around that person. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Indeed, you don't.
you know. But then again, we tolerate it because we feel we have to. And the truth is, we don't. We don't have to keep tolerating half-assness. That's a word from ourselves and from these men in our space. We
She's
don't
making up her
have
own vocabulary. You better work, mother.
to. I ain't lying. We just don't. We
Ache, we
don't.
don't, but we do. And it seems like, that's why I talked about the generational thing. It's like really deep when you look at the generational essence of programming and that being handed down and handed down. And it's just like, no, enough is enough. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, as Lennon says, he's like, I don't care if I see a woman in desperation, or she needs, eyes to be watching her to make sure she's safe. She's the divine feminine. I'm the divine masculine. It's my job.
Yes, hey, come on, Lennon.
Okay, he be breaking it down. Let me tell you, Lennon
Hey.
used to have me hollering. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just like, why isn't, these are things that little boys and little girls need to be taught. We are not the enemy against each other. We are union. We are one. And we need to protect each other.
You hold the space,
Yes.
and it's like when I was saying, you know, first you have to see in order for Lennon, let's decode Lennon for a moment. In order for Lennon to be able to see the divine feminine in himself, outside of himself, he has to have a deep connection to his masculinity. It doesn't happen the other way around.
Indeed.
You see, you have to have a deep love of your masculine essence to be able to love that which is outside of you, which is the feminine. Let's be real. So men may look at a woman and they're okay, oh, she got a nice ass and she boo 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 boo, right? That they're not appreciating the feminine in that moment. Let's just be honest. Because the feminine has different expressions. So they're oohing and awing and compartmentalizing her, objectifying her. But that is not holding the space for her. So here's how you hold the space. If you know you're outside or Starbucks is closing and there's a female employee and you're the male manager, and instead of locking the door behind her, you offer to take her to the car. You take her to the car and you make sure she's safe. That's putting action to your feeling, your thought. It's what you feel compelled to do. When you just oohing and awing and lusting, miss me with all that. Because what can you build on that? What can you build on that? And the thing is, like, we get so intoxicated because we've been trained to be beautiful so we can sexually entice men, right? We've been taught we were tools for to be objectified and for men's sexual pleasure. That's why we jump through hoops to keep him looking at us. But what if we stopped all that? What if we just say, you know what, I'm enough?
Girl, you know all hell would break loose on planet Earth.
I'm enough. You know what I'm saying? Let's write that story. Let's write that I'm enough story.
Yep.
Okay.
Man,
it's gonna happen. It is happening. It's happening.
Well, it is happening because I'm interviewing you. And the way that I look at it is that one has to become what one seeks. One has to be able to create the space for safeness and sharing and creating a different paradigm of thought. People always say, oh, well, these things they do, because I have a ton of them in my network who are creators. There's one thing, about talking about the issue, but there's a whole nother reality when one is creating the sacred space, as my Lakota sister, granddaughter Crow, always says. My place is sanctuary, and this is why I interviewed you, and I give you kudos and admire, because you are creating sanctuary in a space for healing to take place with the divine feminine and masculine, because the programming is deep, boo. It's deep. Through the essence of media, through the essence of education, even through the essence of our own parents and family bloodline. It's profound.
Right.
It's very profound. Let's just keep it real. So, like the work that you're doing is very deeply spiritual in nature and is much needed, because the most powerful energy on earth is literally swept under the rug and people feel uncomfortable talking about it. It's like, really? I mean, it to me, it's a contradiction, but that's just me.
And the thing also is that the real feminine power that is available, you'll never see it really modeled in any of the television programming. It's like it's such a fierce, untamable fire that they want to keep you far away from that as possible. Okay, they'll give you Olivia Pope on Scandal. They'll give you these women so you can believe that's a woman. Oh, she got it going on. But to really be in the presence of a woman who knows her stuff, who knows who she is something that will make you pause. It's something that make you pause. I'm like, oh my God, this is new. This is a woman who knows something, right? Not, got the latest style and the latest fashion. And I'm not anti-fashion, but I'm just saying that we've been trained to believe that it is the fashion, it is the looks, and that is an expression of who we are. But that is not what gives us power. And so they want to distract us to keep us thinking it's something else. It's the Marilyn Monroe, the pinup dolls, the Playboy centerfolds. It's all of that, USA and all of that. You know what I'm saying? And that keeps us kind of like domesticated. What can I say? It's the best word I could come up with. Domesticated. We are wild women. We are wild beings. And we're caged. And the thing is, we're caged by our own fears. And a lot of men, now, I have this whole term called low voltage, high voltage men, these two terms I use, so we can actually begin to see ourselves as an energy system and not just as okay, this is just me. No, you are a system of energy, and either someone's going to give to you or they're going to take away from you, right? Or keep you, or just don't harm you in any way, add to your take away from you. But when we begin to tap into something that's far beyond how we look and the sexual pleasure we can give somebody, once we get over that smoke and mirrors, now we working on something. Now we really can start to magnetize the kind of men in our space that's going to be of service. That's a Linen Honor. That's a Siddiqui Bakari. That's a Ralph Smart.
Yes.
That's my best friends who I talk to on a regular basis. The men who are flowing in, want to be of service to me, offer me different things. The men who are of service to women. And if a man is not of service to women, kick it to the curb. Kick them to the curb. You know what I'm saying? Save yourself time. Kick them to the curb.
Man, I swear, just the alignment of what you just said, very deep and profound, because I was pondering today and meditating on the word soulmate. Human beings, we throw around so many ideologies and boxes that we have encapsulated and created in this world. However, when one is asked about the description of soulmates, I made the observation, which is very obvious, that most people talk about exactly what you're speaking of, the mundane coat in which we encapsulate the bamboozlement. Not really the bamboozlement, it's the one that strings it in, but I'm saying magnetism. However, one doesn't go deeper and transcend that and go into the essence of the inner, the essence of soul. And people never give descriptions of that. They always talk about physical cardinal attributes, and I do understand that we are physical human beings. However, no one that I've ever asked about soulmates and what they desire or see for themselves ever transcend that and talk about the essence of someone's inner being, their inner energetic system, in which you just talked about. Very profound to me.
It's just not the way we've been conditioned to relate to one another. It's like I see you, and I start to look at everything. You see if you're attractive to me. Is she hot or is he hot? I'm like, okay. I mean, I get it. I mean, I get the whole physical thing. I'm not, saying don't express your beauty and don't take care of yourself. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that that's just a packaging, and I think that's the irony of it.
Yep.
Because the creator, whatever you want to call that, is a comedian. Okay, I just want to say.
Oh, no doubt.
Okay, I mean, dang, the cosmic jokes that go on this place. So you see someone you think is very appealing, and they're nothing like you imagine them to be, or the fact that you are considered to be very pretty, and then you feel that should get you money or access. You see what I'm saying? Because you still are trapped. You're still trapped in a limitation because of the way you think you look, whether you think you're ugly, or whether you think you're fat, or whether you think you are sexy. I mean, you can feel sexy, but you feel, okay, I'm going to get this job because I have this, or you feel, okay, I'm going to go for me a baller because I got this body and he's going to take care of me. Now, so we are always emitting and broadcasting energy. We're emitting, we are energy systems. We are broadcasting and receiving. We're emitting and then we're receiving. When we emit those thoughts to the universe, we magnetize experiences that amplify it. And then the cosmic jokes come in when you figure out, okay, I don't care how fine you are. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else was finer. Okay.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Or you weren't fine enough, or whatever it is you begin to tell yourself, right? And to wake you up, it is not your looks. It's not the size of your penis. You know, it's not the money in your bank account or the money that's not in your bank account. That is not who you are. If you keep looking through those lenses, we're going to keep giving you experiences so you can figure out that's not it.
When you said that, I had this funny, Spirit showed me this funny depiction of the devil dressed in a pinstripe suit, a good looking guy. And I see like this couple, getting together based upon the superficiality. And then when everything unravels and one finds out that the inner constitution of that person is an abuser or a manipulator or whatnot, whatever, it's like the devil snaps his fingers and he's like, gotcha. You know what I'm saying? And it's tragic, but you can't help but laugh at that, because when you said cosmic joke, it is so that, because I have met women and men who are like, they pick based upon exactly what you just said, and then they get in these situations that are really, really abusive in nature. And it's like, they just came out of like World War II or something, or III, and they look all broke down, weave all pulled off their head, eyelashes laying on the ground, glasses knocked off. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, man, yeah.
You don't want it any other way. You want to leave that thing. You want to have everything off so you'll get it. You don't leave nothing pretty about you, because that may give you a chance to go back. When you walk away, you want to make sure all the makeup off, the wigs off, the weaves next. You want to make sure everything.
Your hair all messed up and you looking like, did that really happen? And you just like, oh my God. Yes, girl.
Because that way I know you have really owned. I know then you ain't going back.
Okay,
you're
sweetie.
Begin to reach deeper within yourself.
I mean, we can laugh about it now, because let me tell you something. When I found, because it's the same as you, when I did my divorce, let me tell you, it was a cut and dry, no communication, new phone number, new everything. And I think this person underestimated my strength. You know what I'm saying? Because this person was a good looking guy, but honey, he was the devil on the inside. Yo, he was shook. After all of this was done, one day I was sitting on my bed and I'm talking to Spirit. And I'm just like, I just felt like everything had been knocked off, and I'm like, wow, did that really happen? And I couldn't stop laughing. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like, wow, I spent 10 years of my life with this person, and it was like I had the strength of Zeus, girl. I swear to God. I don't know what it was. And I knew that the battlefield that I would be facing would not be pretty, but mama was like, I was Shira for real, spiritual Shira, because it was done. And, that person tried to reach out. But one day I was just sitting and I just had the laughs. And, I was just like, wow, it was a mind blower, because you amaze your own darn self, right?
Absolutely, girl. It's funny, but we know what it was like. We could benefit from the wisdom and we benefit from the experience, but we know that we can laugh at it. And here's the thing, because I'm over here tearing over here. Here's the thing. It's like, this is life, and we've come to learn and evolve. And you can't be manicured all times. Sometimes the uglier you get, the stronger you look. The stronger you act. You know what I'm saying? When you have bought every lie they've told you about who you are. You have gone at the cosmetic surgeries, you've had the implants, you've done it all, and it still hasn't worked, right? Now what? Now what? What you have been looking for, you have been looking with. Sit down, grab your wig, have a good laugh. You know what I'm saying? And the journey continues, but now with a little bit more wisdom, a little bit more confidence, a little bit more self-awareness, a little bit more power. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna, when you walk out from a situation, because I know I I caught my last one. I was like, girl, I was in the ring. I was like, girl, I had my mouthpiece knocked out. Give me my girl. I had a temple hit to the head. I got knocked out.
Ooh.
You know, but I was fighting Mike Tyson.
Okay. And you know what? We can laugh about this now because, you know, when you say the cosmic joke, when we are able to do certain things and to gain wisdom after, you know, as you're healing and everything is said and done, you hear your ancestors and your spirit guides like, oh, we got you out of that one again. You know what I'm saying? Have you learned your lesson now? On to triumph. And you have to laugh at that because it's just like, wow, I gained so much wisdom and so many seeds were birthed just from, that trauma. But it's just like, girl, please, honey, make you want to have a cocktail, and I don't drink.
And it's like when I do my gratitude journal, I oftentimes get very teary-eyed when I go into thanking them for showing me who I was really being, who I was pretending to be, because that wasn't me.
Wow.
Just conditioning, wasn't the imposter.
Right? Totally.
Right? So you have a thankful heart, and when you have a thankful heart, the laughter can come. The laughter can come.
Oh, you're such a blessing, Spirit Halima. I am just, we're winding down to our hour. We have 9 more minutes, but I just, when I feel something about a particular creator, an artist, a poet, a documentarian, a teacher, I just have to give thanks and praise for the things that they do. And it's important that you know that the things that you're doing and the way that you're expanding is very, very precious and important to humanity, and that I always, always acknowledge that. And I cannot wait to see the conversations that you bring to the forefront with the divine feminine and masculine and the things that you create, because I know that it's going to be something magnificent. And
thank you.
I'm just so excited and so happy that females are doing this work, because we need to get on the bandwagon as well. There are men, beautiful men, who are recognizing this spiritual energy and how we have to get things in order, but the women also need to align. So you give people inspiration to step in their power and to be the teachers that they are. I'm so grateful.
Thank you. It's what I've been born to do, why I'm here. One of the reasons why I'm here is to really support women, and as I support myself, because I'm evolving every day, into really recreating and really redesigning, re-engineering, restructuring this paradigm that that is fueled by women who really love themselves and who have really tapped into their magic. So we can really create societies where our beloved children can be healthy and whole and vibrant and ecstatic beings. We don't have to learn through pain and suffering. That is a way. That is not the only way.
Yeah.
And I think all of us have paid our dues enough so our future generations won't have to experience it. They can learn through love. There is a way to learn through love.
Okay.
So every person, when you begin the journey of healing, you heal 7 generations in the past and 7 generations in the future. That's how important we are. Life is becoming conscious through Spirit Halima, through you, through everyone. And that is a profound awareness.
And how it's appropriate. I mean, we're in the age of we have Neptune in Pisces right now. You know, I always say as above so low, as above so below. There is no disconnect. So it's so fascinating. This is another reason why you fascinate me, girl, because you be listening to spirit. I mean, it's like this energy is really pulling in that feminine energy. Pisces is a higher octave of love. It is the generational wounds and nightmares that one has accrued, and that transit doesn't happen very often. We'll never see it again. The last one was in 1842.
Oh, wow.
And it will end in 2025, I believe. So, like, you know, when I saw you rising up, I was like, okay, my sisters is rising up. I gotta step up my game. I was like, I gotta, you know, do my thing, because the work that we're doing is literally healing the ley lines. It's healing the planet, and it's just beautiful. So I guess you're doing retreats and classes. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just saying.
No, I was thinking today about like doing a retreat. Like, where do I want to go? I want to go to Bali. I want to go to the Caribbean. We get some 10 sisters over there and get in the water and just talk and chop it up and really empower each other. But no, not yet though. But it's on my to-do list. But right now I'm having a master class I'm doing on attracting a high voltage man, which I'm going to go into and give women a lot of tools to be able to discern, because when we lost our rightful mind, we lost our ability to discern quality manhood, and that affected our children and our community. So there's a lot of healing work to do in just that alone. But we're going to be covering aspects of what woman needs to know about herself, certain archetypes of men that are drawn to women, who are called over function. Women who give and hope, and one day they'll get something back.
Wow, so familiar, right?
No, that has to go. No more, no mas. So we're gonna go into some of the archetypes of women also, like what enablers, what archetypes magnetize these low voltage men to women, and be honest with yourself. Again, life is about seeing yourself for who you are, being in this moment, and make new decisions about your future, about your next moment. So that's what we're going to be going deep. And there's really no reason not to take the master class, because I'm going to give a lot of information.
When is the master class, Spirit Halima?
It's going to be Thursday, May 11th at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's going to be about 75 minutes. And with that, I'm going to give women a lot of tools and things to consider, and some breathing practices to balance our emotions, to tap us into our intuition. So it's going to be a very powerful masterclass.
Where can people connect with you? Because family, Spirit Halima is always, she be doing her thing. Because I'll be working and looking on Facebook, and she done popped up and did a live video, and I'm like, dang it, I missed it again. So connect with her, because she has so many nuggets of wisdom. Where can people get in contact, sis?
They can visit my website, spirithalima.com, spirit, HALIMA.com, and just go subscribe to my website. On Facebook, they can reach out to me at Spirit Halima, and those are the best 2 ways to reach out to me.
Well, as I always say to everyone who steps on the HO Network, whether I'm actually interviewing or producing, you are now a part of the HO Network family, and I will keep the family on the burner and pass things around, because the work that you're doing is healing on so many different levels, from the spiritual to the outer. And I'm so grateful. Thank you for spending time with me and making me laugh, making me ponder, and actually giving me a healing as well as I'm on the air with you. I love you so much, sis.
Love you too. Thank you so much. It's been a healing being on here with you and connecting and sharing our stories and laughing. That's one thing we have to start doing with sisters, is laughing more and not taking ourselves so seriously.
I second that. Thank you, family, for spending time with me. Share, pass this along. This is very important information so one can begin a dialogue of healing. We can no longer stand by the side of the road as human beings. We just can't do that anymore. We can't afford it. I send you so much love, family, and until next time, bye-bye.